Welcome everyone. Now this story has betrayal, humiliation, and enough drama to make your group chat freeze. So before we begin, hit like and subscribe, because unlike Susan, we actually appreciate loyalty around here. Let's get into it. Susan found a new way to be cruel. She sent her husband a love text meant for another man, then blamed him for reading it. "I can't stop thinking about last night. He still has no idea," the message said. 1 second later it vanished, replaced by, "That wasn't for you. And honestly, you wouldn't understand anyway." Clinton stayed at his phone in the parking lot of their apartment complex in Houston, with a fast food coffee cooling in the cup holder and $20 left until Friday. That was the moment his marriage stopped being a wound and became a crime scene. Here's how it happened. Clinton had always been the kind of man people leaned on without noticing the weight they put on him. He was black, broad-shouldered, steady-voiced, the kind of father who remembered dentist appointments, school projects, and which child hated grape cough syrup. He worked long shifts in warehouse operations on the east side of Houston and still came home willing to braid hair badly, fix leaky faucets slowly, and dance in the kitchen foolishly if it made the kids laugh. He was not flashy. He was not loud. He believed love was rent paid on time, tires rotated before road trips, and hot breakfast on Saturday. Susan used to say that was exactly why she loved him. When they were dating in Third Ward, she laughed at his corny lines like they were premium entertainment. Their first real date had been at a soul food place where Clinton got barbecue sauce on his church shirt and tried to wipe it off with a paper napkin until it shredded across his chest like confetti. Susan laughed so hard she snorted sweet tea through her nose, and Clinton, mortified for exactly 4 seconds, bowed from his seat like a stand-up comic killing a set. That night ended with them sharing peach cobbler and a soft, honest kiss in the parking lot. In those days, Clinton thought romance was simple and sacred. He brought her sunflowers because Rosie's felt too rehearsed. She liked old-school R&B, so he made playlists with names like 4 Traffic on 59 and songs for when you mad but still cute. Once, during a summer storm, the power went out in her apartment, and Clinton lit 3 candles, burned 1 frozen pizza beyond recognition, and declared himself Chef Black Gordon Ramsay. Susan laughed until she cried, then ate the least charred slices with him sitting cross-legged on the floor. It felt like the kind of love people mistook for ordinary because it fit so naturally. They married in a courthouse downtown and celebrated with family at her auntie's house, where cousins argued over dominoes and somebody's uncle swore the DJ ruined Frankie Beverly on purpose. Clinton looked at Susan that night and felt lucky in a clean, uncomplicated way. They built a life the way most working people do in America. 1 monthly payment at a time, 1 compromise at a time, 1 shared dream revised by reality. They had 2 kids, a daughter with Clinton's serious eyes and a son with Susan's quick smile. They had bills, routines, fatigue, inside jokes, and a weathered kind of devotion Clinton thought would hold. Trouble did not arrive dramatically at first. It came dressed as criticism. Susan began telling Clinton he was absent, though he was home every night and less work forced overtime. She said he lacked ambition while cashing checks he earned. She said he made her feel trapped in a small life, even though that life included daycare, school uniforms, and a man who had quietly said no to his own wants for years so the household never went without. Clinton tried to listen because that is what decent men do when they love someone. He thought they were arguing about stress. He did not know he was negotiating with contempt. The first time Clinton felt truly uneasy was at a Sunday dinner at Susan's mother's house in Missouri City. Her mother kept asking why Clinton looked so tired in that syrupy, false concern voice people use when they are really judging you. Susan's sister chimed in that women get lonely too, which landed on the table with strange weight. Clinton noticed a look pass between them, quick as a spark. Then Susan smiled without warmth and asked him to pass the cornbread. He did. He was still trying to be decent in rooms where decency had already been voted out. Looking back, he called that meal the funeral before the obituary. Around then, Susan became protective of her phone in a way that would have been funny if it had not been so ugly. She used to leave it anywhere. Couch cushion, kitchen counter, bathroom sink. Now she carried it like state secrets lived inside. She even took it to the laundry room downstairs. One night Clinton joked, "You expecting the mayor to text?" Susan didn't laugh. She said, "Maybe I just like privacy," in a tone sharp enough to slice the joke in half. Clinton apologized even though he had done nothing wrong. That was becoming a habit. Her offense, his apology. Some marriages die screaming. His started dying by paperwork. Their funniest family moments somehow survived in the middle of the tension, which made the tension hurt more. Their son once put 2 slices of bread over his ears and announced he was Sandwich Man, then ran into a wall because he could not see. Susan laughed so hard she had to sit down. Clinton picked the boy up, checked his forehead, and said, "Your superhero origin story needs work." Even Susan smiled at that. On another night, they all danced in the living room after a rain delay canceled baseball practice, and Clinton moonwalked so badly both kids collapsed on the rug laughing. Memory can be cruel like that. It preserves joy inside disaster. Clinton still tried to rescue what was slipping away. He planned a weekend in Galveston with cheap but clean lodging, beach snacks from a grocery store, and a playlist of songs from when they first met. He held Susan's hand on the seawall while gulls circled overhead like nosy relatives. For one afternoon, it almost felt real again. They ate fried shrimp, watched the kids chase waves, and shared a quiet moment on the hotel balcony after dark. Clinton kissed her forehead and told her he missed her even when she was right next to him. Susan looked away and said nothing. Silence can be colder than shouting when you realize it is deliberate. The wrong text arrived 3 weeks later on a Thursday night after Clinton had finished a double shift. He sat in his truck for a minute because he needed the extra 60 seconds before becoming useful again upstairs. Then his phone lit up. "I can't stop thinking about last night." He still has no idea. His chest dropped, hard and sudden, like an elevator with a snap cable. The message disappeared almost immediately. Then another appeared. "OMG, babe, that wasn't for you." Then a third, "And don't start. I'm tired." In 3 notifications, 20 years of trust turned into something wet, rotten, and impossible to hold without getting it all over yourself. Clinton did not storm upstairs. Pain can be loud, but disbelief is quiet. He sat there listening to the engine tick as it cooled, trying to convince himself there was some explanation that did not make him look stupid for loving her faithfully. When he finally walked into the apartment, Susan was on the couch in leggings, scrolling like nothing had happened. The kids were asleep. The television glowed blue across her face. Clinton asked, gently at first, who the text was for. Susan exhaled like he was the inconvenience. Then she said, "Since you saw it, yes. I've been seeing somebody. And no, I'm not going to perform guilt for you." What broke Clinton was not only the confession. It was the calmness. Susan spoke like she was canceling a subscription. She told him the other man made her feel alive. She said Clinton was reliable but uninspiring, a sentence that managed to insult both his loyalty and his labor in one breath. When Clinton asked how long, she shrugged. When he asked whether the kids knew, she rolled her eyes and told him not to be dramatic. Then she said something he would never forget. "You were good for building a life, just not for living one." Some cruelty is meant to wound. Some is meant to rewrite history while you are still bleeding. The next few days peeled back the rest of the lie. Susan's best friend had covered for her. Her sister knew exactly where she had been on the nights she claimed girls' dinners. Her mother, the same woman who handed Clinton sweet potato pie and fake sympathy, told him over the phone that maybe this would push him to level up. Clinton nearly laughed from the shock of it. There was a sick comedy to how boldly wrong people could be. Imagine cheating on a faithful man, lying with relatives, then assigning him homework about self-improvement. Betrayal loves an audience. Cowardice especially loves backup singers. Susan moved out 2 weeks later, but not before emptying what little softness remained in the apartment. She took the newer television, most of the kitchenware, and half the savings Clinton had been building for emergencies. She left him a mountain of bills and the old mattress with one broken spring that poked his ribs like a reminder from the devil. She told the kids she needed space to be happy, which is an adult sentence children hear as abandonment. Clinton tucked them in afterward and smiled until their eyes closed. Then he sat on the bathroom floor and cried so hard he scared himself with the sound. Those months nearly erased him. He lost weight because food tasted like cardboard and shame. He slept in fragments. At work, He moved pallets and inventory with the numb precision of a man trying not to think. He stopped answering casual texts because everybody's "you good" felt unbearable when the truthful answer was no, not even close. His son began asking whether mommy liked her new home better than theirs. His daughter, old enough to understand mood, started becoming extra helpful in a way children do when they think love can be earned by being easier to manage. That nearly broke him worse than the affair itself. Still, life has a rude habit of continuing. Clinton packed lunches, checked homework, attended parent conferences, and learned which discount grocery stores stretched $1 without bruising his pride too badly. He discovered that heartbreak does not excuse school drop-off, and grief does not wash uniforms. There was even humor in the wreckage. One morning he burned toast so completely the smoke alarm began screaming like it had personal issues. His daughter fanned the air with a folder and said, "Daddy, your cooking is having a panic attack." Clinton laughed for the first time in weeks. A cracked sound at first, then a real one. Survival often starts there. The turning point was smaller than people imagine. There was no motivational speech, no triumphant soundtrack. Clinton was in his truck during lunch break, staring at a job posting in Atlanta for a logistics coordinator role requiring a certification he had almost completed years ago. He remembered Susan calling him unambitious. For once, instead of arguing with her ghost in his head, he decided to outgrow the room where she had spoken. He finished the certification at night after the kids slept, reading modules with tired eyes and a stubborn jaw. Each past exam felt less like revenge and more like reclaiming stolen property from the person he used to be. The move to the Atlanta area happened in pieces and paperwork. Clinton found a townhouse in Decatur with clean walls, decent schools, and a tiny patch of grass the kids immediately treated like private property. His new job paid better, respected his experience, and did not act shocked when he showed competence. He did not announce any of it online. He told almost nobody beyond necessary family and the children's school. Privacy became holy to him. After months of being discussed, blamed, analyzed, and misrepresented, he wanted a life that did not need witnesses to be real. Peace, he learned, is sometimes just success with the volume turned down. Atlanta was where Clinton slowly returned to himself. He bought actual furniture instead of making do with leftovers and apology pieces. He learned how to season salmon properly after one hilariously bad attempt that had the whole kitchen smelling like a fish market with landlord problems. The kids loved the new place immediately. Saturday mornings became pancake mornings, with Clinton flipping misshapen ones he called abstract art breakfast. Their daughter made a ranking system. Their son poured too much syrup on everything, including one tragic scrambled egg incident everyone agreed never to speak of publicly. For the first time in a long time, laughter did not feel like disrespecting pain. It felt like proof pain had not won. Love returned too, though not in the way Clinton once expected. It came first as self-respect. He started running in the mornings, not to become impressive, but to hear his own breathing and know his body still belonged to him. He read again. He listened to music without attaching every song to Susan. He noticed beauty without immediately grieving who he used to share it with. On one warm evening, while fireflies stitched light over the backyard, his daughter leaned against him and said the new house felt calm. That word hit harder than praise. Calm meant the children no longer lived inside somebody else's chaos. Calm meant he had built shelter, not just housing. Susan, meanwhile, remained exactly who she had shown herself to be. She did not apologize. She did not ask forgiveness. She only complained when life stopped flattering her. The man she left Clinton for turned out to be the kind of exciting that cannot survive invoices. He was still married when they started, then became loudly single and financially messy. According to the few updates that drifted back through mutuals, he enjoyed appearance more than responsibility. That usually means trouble arrives wearing cologne. Susan moved twice in 1 year, kept changing jobs, and blamed each collapse on bad luck, jealous people, or men who couldn't handle her. Accountability never entered the chat. Karma arrived the way it often does in real neighborhoods and real families. Through consequences nobody can romanticize away. The affair partner got tied up in an ugly divorce and a workplace investigation involving expense fraud. Nothing cinematic, just enough dishonesty catching up to the kind of man who thought rules were for other people. His money tightened overnight. The upscale apartment he once flaunted became impossible. Trips stopped. Gifts stopped. Calls became shorter. When fantasy loses funding, its true character shows fast. Susan discovered she had not left a boring husband for passion. She had left a stable life for a man whose charm depended heavily on direct deposit. Clinton did not cause any of it, which made it cleaner. He heard pieces through court scheduling, child logistics, and the occasional overheard remark from Susan during pickup. Once she complained that men switch up when things get hard, and Clinton had to look out the window so she would not see the bitter comedy on his face. This was the same woman who had abandoned a loyal man because hard things bored her. Some jokes write themselves with such precision they do not need laughter. Clinton kept his replies short, civil, and free of poison. Healing had given him a gift Susan could not understand. He no longer needed her to understand anything. The most satisfying moment happened by accident, which is usually how real emotional payoffs work. Susan came to drop off the kids at Clinton's townhouse one Friday evening in early fall. She had never seen the inside before. Their son forgot his backpack and ran back through the open door shouting for his science project. Susan stood on the porch long enough to see the living room. Neat shelves, framed school art, a couch that matched, soft music playing low, the smell of garlic and butter from dinner. Then their daughter proudly dragged her to the doorway to show off the little homework desk Clinton had built with his own hands. Susan's eyes moved across that private life with visible confusion. Not jealousy exactly. Something harsher. Recognition. The children looked settled. Healthy. Loud in the relaxed way kids get when they trust the room they are in. Their son was talking over himself about pancakes and soccer and how Daddy let him stir the sauce, even though I almost messed it up. Their daughter said Clinton helped her with a book report and made flashcards that were actually cute. Susan stood there watching evidence pile up that the man she had dismissed as too small had become the center of a peaceful world she no longer had access to. Then came the final turn of the knife, and Clinton did not even have to twist it. Susan asked, too casually, whether he was seeing someone. Clinton told the truth. No, not seriously. He was focused on the kids and the life they were building. Susan looked almost relieved until their daughter shouted from the kitchen, "Daddy, are you making the lemon pepper kind? The good kind?" Clinton smiled and said yes. It was not the answer itself that hit Susan. It was the tone. Warm, rooted, unhurried. He sounded like a man no longer auditioning to be loved. That kind of freedom is devastating to people who only valued your need. She tried one last little cruelty before leaving. She said, "Well, I'm glad things finally worked out for you." It was meant to imply he had been the problem all along. Clinton met her eyes and understood, maybe fully for the first time, that remorse was never coming. Some people would rather die thirsty than admit they poisoned the well. So he simply said, "The kids' bags are by the door." No speech, no smirk, no revenge monologue polished in the mirror. Just a boundary. Susan picked up the bags and walked back to her car carrying the only thing karma had truly given her, a clear view of what she had thrown away. That night, after the kids were asleep, Clinton sat alone on the back step with a glass of iced tea and let the quiet settle around him. It did not feel like victory in the childish sense. It felt better than victory. It felt earned. He thought about the Houston parking lot, the wrong text, the bathroom floor, the cracked sleep, the canned soup dinners, the exam-studded under-dim kitchen light, the move, the rebuilding, the laughter returning in fragments. Pain had not made him noble. Pain had made him honest. He finally understood that love without respect is just unpaid labor with anniversaries attached. The lesson Clinton carried forward was not that karma is magical or that suffering automatically improves people. Plenty of hurt turns folks bitter, reckless, or cruel in return. The real moral was quieter and harder. When somebody keeps dishing your loyalty, do not waste years begging them to see your value. Build a life where their blindness costs only them. Protect your peace before you defend your image. Let your healing be private, your standards be high, and your joy be practical enough to survive ordinary Tuesdays. Because sometimes the deepest comeback is not making them regret losing you. It is becoming so whole they can no longer interrupt your peace. If you made it all the way to the end, you're officially family now. So hit like, subscribe, and come back for more stories where the lies are loud, but karma is louder.